Coming up on Hoosier Sports Night, the Hoosier defense suffers another loss before the upcoming season. And we get an update on how the volleyball team is staying prepared amid uncertainty. This is Hoosier Sports Night. Hello and welcome to Hoosier Sports Night. I'm Haley Jordan. Here at IUS TV, we're thankful for another week of sports and another week of coverage, right? The IU football season kicks off in a couple short weeks. However, the defensive unit has lost another key piece. Big moves this week for Indiana football progression as they completed their first scrimmage Saturday and are slowly starting to get back those padded practices. But unfortunately for senior safety Raheem Lane, he will not be seeing the field for a while due to an undisclosed injury.
He was not injured in practice, just something that was kind of nagging, has been nagging for a while, and just felt like it was, something that in order for him to play to the level he needs to play at, we sat down and he agreed, and we all agreed he just needed to get it fixed. And so we don't know exactly the exact timeline, but it definitely won't be anytime soon.
IU defensive coordinator Kane Womack said Lane underwent a surgical procedure due to the injury. Lane now joins Marcelino Ball as the second player out early with an injury.
I feel really good about the fact that he's able to get everything taken care of and is on the mend now. And we'll hope to get him back as soon as possible.
We wish Lane and Ball the best in their recoveries. For IUS TV Sports, I'm Haley Jordan. The Hoosiers host Penn State on October 24th in a matchup that came down to the wire last season in Happy Valley. With no set start date in the spring for the volleyball team, our own Justin Berger caught up with Coach Aird and some of his players to discuss how they're staying ready.
With plans to move the fall 2020 volleyball season to the spring of 2021, head coach Steve Aird and his players have been doing the best they can with the resources they have.
I mean, I would love to give you a consistent routine, but that's just not the case anymore.
These kids were working out in their rooms at home, really kind of building some chemistry together as much as they could. And they were so excited to get back in the gym and train together.
We ran some sleds, and normally it's like, oh, we're running sleds. But I was happy. Afterwards, I was like, yeah, I got to run sleds again. Like something so normal that I haven't been able to do in so long that, is cardio, is conditioning. And I was happy I did it afterwards. So just never take anything for granted.
The Hoosiers certainly aren't taking anything for granted, especially considering that half of their roster is made up of freshmen.
We have 8 freshmen, so 16 kids on the team, and 8 of them are in their first year experience. So anytime we get with them is a positive thing.
I think they are just soaking in so much. Like they're sponges right now, and they're soaking in everything they can, and being able to work with all of them is so cool.
With such a young team this year, IU will have to lean on its senior leadership. Enter fifth-year senior Brooke Westbeld.
We're really lucky with Brooke. She's kind of a very special, different kind of leader who loves the opportunity she's been presented.
Knowing that there was going to be such a big class of freshmen, because that's just one of my favorite roles to be in, is to influence them.
Even with all the changes, Coach Aird is sticking to what has brought his program notoriety.
For me, it's culture. For me, it's relationships. For me, it's trying to really invest in the players you have. I'm typically a pain in the ass when it comes to, let's make sure we're doing what we're supposed to be doing, and the energy has to be high. And I'm a big believer that a quiet gym is a scared gym. You gotta communicate. You gotta be loud, and you gotta play aggressively. So they've done a good job of all of that.
With no specifics announced for the spring season, the coaches and players are left to the basics. Stay healthy and continue to compete. For IUS TV Sports, I'm Justin Berger.
The Hoosiers look to improve on their 14-win season when the next campaign kicks off in the spring. Deron Davis joins Devontae Green across the pond to play professionally. Davis in Dublin and Green in Greece. Last Friday, Davis signed with Colester Dublin Basketball Club in the Super League. Colester is well known as one of the oldest and most successful clubs in Ireland, with 8 National League titles and 5 Irish Men National Cups. Despite battling injuries, Davis finished 10th all-time at IU in field goal percentage, making 54.7% of his career shots. This paid off as he heads to the pros in Dublin. The IU women's basketball team held their preseason media day this week, and our beat reporters Will Trubshaw and Andrew Fish on the Zoom call with Terry Morin and her squad.
We're looking forward to having a season, and that's the thing that we didn't know if that was ever going to, if that was going to happen, if this year could have any sort of normalcy about it.
The uncertainty that surrounded the college sports landscape following the shutdown of sports thanks to the coronavirus has all but been put behind IU women's basketball head coach Terry Morin and her squad. After several months in isolation, the team is gearing up for what promises to be an exciting sequel to a team that finished with a school record in wins and finished just a game shy of playing for the Big Ten title last season.
The Hoosiers had just completed their 10th full squad practice and had successfully executed modified workouts over the summer in Bloomington. Morin was impressed with her team's work ethic while in isolation and thinks that it will translate well into the big expectations IU has in front of itself this season.
This has always been a very motivated group. They were last year, they were a year ago, and although losing Brenna, especially her leadership, is a big loss for us. There's no question that Allie Patberg, is going to be a tremendous leader on and off the floor. And so I don't worry about the expectations for this group. I think that they've, been here long enough to, understand that, the reason why they've had success is just because of the work that they've continued to do and will continue to do.
Senior guard Allie Patberg, a finalist for last year's Nancy Lieberman Award and a WNBA draft hopeful, echoed Morin's pleasure with the work her team has put in both on campus and while at home.
During quarantine, we all worked really hard. We were all apart, we were at home, but we did whatever we could to work on our game, to stay in shape, to get stronger. We knew what our weaknesses were as players, and everyone really took that serious and worked on it.
For Will Trubshaw and IUS TV Sports, this has been Andrew Fish reporting.
Women's basketball will officially start on November 25th, with the full schedule being announced soon. Earlier this week, the athletic department announced that 10 teams had 100% of athletes registered to vote in the upcoming general election. The school's voter registration efforts come as a part of the Big Ten Voter Registration Initiative that was announced in June by Commissioner Kevin Warren. The programs involved include the football team and both basketball squads. The school's Athletic Excellence Academy has worked closely with the Big Ten on the initiative, led by Deputy Director of Athletics Maddie White, Director of Leadership and Life Skills Lisa Winters. Now on to professional sports, where former IU baseball stars Kyle Schwarber and Josh Fegley are heading home for the offseason following the elimination of the Chicago Cubs from the MLB playoffs. But there are several other former Hoosiers currently competing in the pros. The Tampa Bay Rays have included Aaron Sledgers on their postseason roster. Sledgers was a walk-on at IU before being named Big Ten Pitcher of the Year in 2013. In the NFL, Indiana tight end Ian Thomas caught his first touchdown pass of the year in the Panthers' win. Linemen Dan Feeney and Wes Martin also helped their offenses to 48 combined points, though both resulted in losses. And there are plenty of Hoosiers to be seen in Major League Soccer. Will Bruin put a shot on goal for the Seattle Sounders Wednesday, while Aiden Morris took one shot in the Columbus Crew's loss to Montreal. On the bench for the Impact, Mason Toy, who was traded from Minneapolis at the start of the month. But perhaps the most successful former Hoosier last week was Tommy Thompson, who recorded an assist in San Jose's 3-0 win. And that's our show for the week. Thanks so much for tuning in. Don't forget to like our page IUSTV Sports on Facebook and follow us on Twitter at IUSTV Sports. For IUSTV and our production crew behind me, I'm Haley Jordan. We'll see you next week.